The world says goodbye to Dragon Ball Z creator Akira Toriyama.
Cause I've been living life right like I could just die any minute. Going for a ride down the side.
Hi everyone and welcome to Studio Jake. I of course am your host Jacob Airy. Be sure to like this vidcast because I talk about all things pop culture. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Alright, so a couple of things I just wanted to say. I hope that you'll head over to my website, studiojakemedia.com, where I wrote a very heartfelt, I would like to thank obituary for Akira Toriyama. He is considered by many to be the grandfather of manga and anime. He put it on the map and he inspired a lot of us. Unfortunately, I didn't get into Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball or even GT until I was an adult because I just didn't know about it. I just, at the time, wasn't really what I was interested in. I was not even sure what anime was for a long time. I always say Mobile Fighter G Gundam was sort of my gateway into the whole anime community and also looking at anime titles. But I do remember I had a friend who was named Nick. He was real big into Dragon Ball Z, and every time I went over to his house, we would play Budokai together. That's where I got kind of a passing familiarity with Dragon Ball. But it wasn't until I met my wife, who was very into Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, that I was actually exposed to it. And we binge watched Dragon Ball Z together. We tried to do GT, but GT is a terrible show, and Akira Toriyama, despite it being connected to DBZ, he actually had no involvement with it. He had very little involvement with a lot of the movies as well. I do believe he worked on The Dead Zone and Wrath of the Dragon, but I don't think in the ones in between those he had a whole lot of involvement in. He mainly focused on the main anime and also writing the books. As he got older, he decided to come out of retirement because he had retired when Z ended, and uh, he just wanted to take a break, spend time with his wife, who was also a manga artist, and spend time with his two children who were growing up at this point. And he came back out of retirement to do Dragon Ball Z Battle of the Gods. And from that sprung the idea for Dragon Ball Super. And I just wanted to say how he inspired me. If you read some of my works, you can definitely see kind of vignettes of his, how he influenced the Seven Royals, particularly Breaking the Stars. So outside of Japan, Akira Toriyama, he did so much amazing work. You can see, especially in Mexico and Central America, as well as South America, just how much these characters were loved. Here in the United States, of course, in Canada, and of course Japan, but even in China, which is trying to build its own animation industry apart from anime, they were really into Dragon Ball Z because the main character Goku, he is based on the Monkey King from the story Journey to the West. So, just but all that to say, this guy inspired so many people. He actually passed away on March 1st, but they didn't announce his passing until a week later because his family wanted to have private service for him. They didn't want the huge celebrity grandstanding, and I have mad respect for them for doing that. Now, one of the things that was really touching over the weekend was seeing other anime and manga writers and artists react to his death. They paid tribute to him in beautiful ways, and I highly recommend looking them up. It was very touching, and the voice actress who voiced Goku in Japan, because they actually used a female voice actress, they, or I should say, she did a fantastic, heartfelt, touching message on his behalf, which I found to be very, very tear jerking. And of course, I shared the image on my Instagram. I think I shared it on my Facebook as well. And it's an image of Goku being hugged by Superman. It's, of course, Superman's creators. They also passed away. And it was that one really touched me because Goku is kind of Japan's Superman. He's well known, he's recognizable, his face is recognizable, everyone knows him. You know, I've got the shirt on right now. And One of the things that people have noticed is that people who aren't fans of Dragon Ball Z, but they like other anime, they're taking time to disparage him on Twitter, or I should say X and Instagram. And I just want to say how disgusting that is. Guys and gals, this is why people don't like the anime community, because we have such a cult like mentality sometimes. And I include myself in this, where our favorite is the number one and there's no other in between. And that's just not the case. You can respect Akira Toriyama, even other mangakais have acknowledged the imprint and the inspiration that they took from him. Especially if you look at One Piece, you can see in Luffy that wide-eyed optimism that Goku has, or Natsu from Fairy Tail. He's not OP like say Goku and Luffy are, but he has that same just strive to do what's right, protect your friends, and laugh along the way. So I just wanted to say that. And one final thing, one of the things that does make me sad is when Dragon Ball Daima or Dragon Ball Magic was announced, fans gave kind of a poor reaction because one of the criticisms of Super was that it wasn't like Dragon Ball Z, which is kind of silly because it's a different show. It's a sequel. Sequels aren't always the same, but that was kind of a criticism of it, that Gohan took a back seat. And of course, though, fortunately, Gohan did come back with Dragon Ball Superhero, but people were like, "Oh, Daima," because the premise is a lot of the Z fighters get turned into kids again, and so it's going to be Kid Goku with his power pole. Hopefully, Flying Nimbus comes back. We'll have to wait and see. But there was kind of a mixed reaction to it. Not everyone was super negative. I certainly wasn't. I said, let's be cautiously optimistic about it. I think it's going to be good, especially with him behind it. And sadly, that is the last thing that he saw from his fans before he passed away. So whenever it comes out, let's celebrate it. Let's have a good time. Let's blow it up. Let's make it a hit. Let's rally together like we've done for other creators, other events. And this goes into a broader conversation, whether it be anime or comic books or TV shows or movies or other forms of animation. Celebrate your favorite creators, even if there's something you don't like that they did. For instance, I'm a huge fan of Scott Snyder, the comic book writer. He did Batman Last Night on Earth. Of the things he wrote, that is my least favorite. I don't like it. I thought it was not well conceived. However, in my opinion, Scott Snyder was the last really good writer for the main Batman DC comics, with his stuff with the Court of Owls, with Death of the Family, with Endgame. I really enjoyed that, and I enjoyed his introduction of the Batman Who Laughs. I do think now DC Comics is kind of overusing the Batman Who Laughs, but that's not Scott Snyder's fault. That's DC Comics' fault. We need to be able to say, hey, thank you for inspiring us. Thank you for giving us this. And we need to be sure we tell the creators while they're alive how much we appreciated them. We need to do that. It's important, it matters, and we need to say thank you every once in a while. We can't be constantly throwing out negative. And please know, I'm including myself in this. I'm not trying to lecture anyone. I am the chief among sinners when it comes to this kind of thing. We need to be better about saying thank you. And I think that that'll make the creators more motivated to work with the fans, to visit with the fans, to sign autographs for fans. We need to be better about saying thank you to our favorite creators. And listen, no one is above criticism. That doesn't mean you can't criticize something they've done or something they did, but just also remember, don't just compact it all with negativity. Every once in a while, say thank you to them. Say thank you to Peter Cullen for voicing Optimus Prime for so many years and continuing to come back to the role. You know, that's another great example. One thing that really warmed my heart is how fans really rallied around Kevin Conroy about, and how we wanted to protect his legacy, because Sweet Baby Inc. wanted to ruin it and just slap in the face of the fans. Them along with Rocksteady and Warner Brothers. So what we need to do is do this more often, because especially Akira Toriyama, he inspired not one but two generations of anime fans to do better, to go beyond our limits, to make friends, to embrace family, and move forward. I think that that is his legacy, not just Dragon Ball Z, not just entertaining us, but he did teach us valuable lessons. Even myself as an adult can admit that. So, goodbye, Akira Toriyama. Thank you for giving us Goku and the rest of the Z Fighters. And Godspeed to everyone else. I hope that you will celebrate the long and historied legacy that is Akira Toriyama with all of his works.
Cause I've been living life right like I could just die